thinking, and you can't be plugged into the average guy unless you talk to the average guy. You play sport with him, you go and have in the pub and drink with him, whatever you do, you're plugged into the average guy. And so I might go to my tennis game, I've got 14 blokes there, and I'll ask a question. And you get to feel what's happening out there. But a politician, does he get to feel that?
Well, now you've just perfectly explained the problems that Malcolm Turnbull has. Because if you don't talk to ordinary people, you have no idea what they're thinking. You don't know what's being discussed at the dinner table of a night, and you have to. If you want to be a good politician, you've got to know. You have to know what your people are thinking. And unfortunately, too many of our people now, they just talk to each other.
They live in this little tight community.
Yeah.
And they start to believe their own bullshit.
Yeah, well, I remember when I left politics, I'm digressing here, when I left politics, the right-wing had a little party for me, and Gareth Evans got up and he said he was glad I was leaving. I thought I was going to get a spray, he said, because he doesn't believe all of his own bullshit. The rest of us are condemned to do that. And I think that summed up Parliament. Now, I digress. We've got to get on to business. Now, Amazon is on the way. What happens to Harvey Norman and companies like you when Amazon hits the floor?
Well, the situation with Amazon has been going for 23 years. It's worth somewhere between 500 billion and a trillion. And it really hasn't made a profit out of retail in 23 years. So any other retailer out there is long gone. But Amazon's going. The premise is that one day it's going to own the market. And then when it does, and it's said everyone broke, it will own the market. And that's the Amazon model. So
it's monopoly.
That's what they're aiming to do. I mean, the thing is that you've got these big American companies now who are becoming very dominant in the world when you talk about Facebook and Google and Amazon and some others. But they're the big ones. And their influence out there is extraordinary. But they think they've only just started. And so they have an agenda in their little circle, and they think that we probably don't get it, but we're not as silly as they think that we are.
I'm sure, but how do you prepare? How do you resist? How do you stay in business against a giant like that? Because, I know you're big by Australian standards, but by comparisons with Amazon, you bugger all.
No, but I'll be a lot better than them, don't worry about that. So, Amazon, in America, that's where they're born, don't forget. Yep. They've been there all this time. They've managed to secure 3% of the market in, say, refrigerators and washing machines. 3%. The other 97% belongs to someone else. So if they got 3% in Australia, how's that going to affect me that much? Now, I've got a shop in Kalgoorlie, I've got a shop in Cairns, I've got a shop in Dubbo, I've got a shop in every town in Australia with 10,000 people or more. So you want an Amazon fridge, and they've got a warehouse in Melbourne, they might have one in Sydney, and you're in one of these towns. How are they going to get it there? Which carrier is going to take it? A carrier that takes fridges and washers all the time, or some bloke that never does that sort of thing? So he damages the thing, he doesn't get it there on time, he does everything wrong. They can't compete with us. But people out there are saying, oh, they're going to have this huge effect. So I have analysts, sensible, smart people, saying it's going to take 20% off my business overnight.
Well, I've heard that. That's why I got China.
Nobody in their right mind. And these are smart people making these stupid assertions. And so I look at it and I think, they have no basis for this conversation. And so I just, you can't be that smart and be that stupid at the same time.
Oh, yes, you can.
You've seen too many.
I've met plenty of people in that category,
But you get the bloke and you're sitting there saying, but where did you get your 20% from? Or where did you get your 15%? You pull it out of the air. There is no justification for what you're writing. Your research is shit. Right?
Well, is it an even playing field for you in there?
Well, the situation is that the manufacturers, a big percentage of the big manufacturers in the world do not like Amazon. Right? So they're out there selling product online. They have to have showrooms. You cannot be a major manufacturer and not have a showroom, because A lot of people will buy online, but there's a downside, more don't buy online.
Yeah, I won't.
So they want to go into a shop and they want to talk to someone, they want to see it, they want to feel it, all this sort of thing. So the manufacturer, if he just deals with Amazon, guess what's going to happen to him? His market share is going to go shoo. So he has to have shops. Now, what's that mean? In the future, if Amazon come out with the price of a fridge at $8.99, I will either equal that price or I will beat it. One of the two. But I'm in the town. You can come and see me. You can come and complain to me. I'm not at the end of a machine somewhere. And so I don't think that they're going to have any big influence on me. But other people, smarter people than me, they have a different opinion.
Yeah, I keep reading, so they've obviously got a different opinion.
But if you read enough from enough people, you start to believe it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. They must be right. They're all saying the same thing.
Well, actually, you've surprised me. I was assuming that you'd be doom and gloom about it. You seem to think that you'll be fine.
The evidence says that I'll be fine. And when a manufacturer, if it gets to a really desperate stage, so what the manufacturer's got to do then, he might have to rent space in my shop. He might have to pay for my salespeople. All of these things. He has to support me. He cannot let me go. So I've got to be his best friend, not Amazon. And I talk to retailers overseas. And I talk to manufacturers that deal with Amazon, so I know what they say. They won't tell you if you're in the media, right? But if you're a mate and you're having lunch with them or something to do, I'll tell you, it's a different story. You know there are two stories out there all the time.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Well, can we turn then to the question I always ask you? What's the economy like at the moment? Are we spending? Are we buying consumer goods? Are we saving? What are we doing?
I thought it'd be a little bit better than it is. It's pretty good. It's not, like in Western Australia, it's dropped off a bit. The two powerhouses are Victoria and New South Wales, and southeast Queensland's going pretty good. Tasmania's okay. Surprisingly, South Australia's okay.
It is surprising,
but it's going okay. But I think we're gaining market share there, so maybe the state's not going as well as it looks like in our books. But overall, it's pretty good. I thought that it would be a little bit better than it is. I thought it'd be a little bit better, but it's not. And then I'm looking at October, November, December now, and I'm thinking there's 350,000 more people in Australia today than there was 1 year ago. Now, they've got to buy something, they've got to have a house, they've got a car, they're here. And so if they're here, they're spending. And next year, there'll be another 350,000. So business is okay.
Well, I'm glad to hear. What about the GST argument that I've interviewed you about before, when you were complaining about things coming in from overseas where the GST is avoided? How's that gone for you?
Well, I've been out there. When that first started 10 years ago or something, I'm out there telling everyone, this is unfair, this is stupid. I didn't have anyone on the media on my side. People are getting stuff cheaper. They don't have to pay GST. So we let people like Amazon send all this stuff into Australia, employ nobody, pay no GST, just have this huge advantage over every retailer in Australia. And 10 years ago I said, this is just plain unfair. And no, Harvey, you're looking after your own little dunghill and, you don't care about customers. Exactly the opposite. Like we pay taxes and we sponsor sport and we give money to charities and we get involved in the community and all those sort of things. Nothing from them. And so they have this huge, every year, I go to a politician, I go to the media, I yell and scream, I've got other people supporting me, and here we are 10 years later. No GST, still no GST. On the 1st of July this year it was supposed to come in. And then our weak politicians, right, they were lobbied by some people. You've heard of lobbyists?
I have indeed.
Right, and they go in
I've
there and they bluff these bloody stupid politicians, right? And so then the politicians bluff and he puts it off for another year. You're kidding, right? These people have just pulled the wool over their eyes.
And it's both sides, isn't it? I mean, it's not a problem for one side of politics.
They're all weak, right? Everything is about the vote. I've got to get the vote. And so you sacrifice anything for the vote. And then the people out there are saying, we don't want you to we want you to be decisive and work for the country and all that. Some of them might, or they're altruistic and wish they could or something like that, but you know what it's like. You're a consummate politician, still even,
no.
Right? No, but you are. You're out there, you're thinking about it all day, you're connected, you live it, you're talking to all these people, business people, politicians. You're plugged in, right? I've often said, listen, don't ever let any legislation go through anywhere unless you give it to Graham Richardson to give it a tick first, right? And I tell you what, it'd help. Right?
Well,
you know that's never going to happen.
No, but it certainly helped on this one because I agree with you. I cannot understand why we allow people to not pay the GST when we make our own pay it.
And year after year for 10 years, and everyone knows it's wrong. Now I've got all the media on my side. I've got nearly all the public on my side, where I didn't have before. So that just goes to show you, it's strange people.
Well, we have you look at our laws here, we have media laws that prevent Bruce Gordon buying Channel 10 but allow CBS from America to buy it. I mean, tell me how that works.
Media laws, the problem is they're fixing something here that they should have fixed there. And we've got energy problems they should have fixed there, and now it's got into trouble. So they're not doing it quick enough. They're not on the ball. They're not anticipating. Anticipate.
Oh, I don't think I do too much of that. Plan ahead. Now, a question I've always wanted to ask you and never have. I noticed that there are problems with franchises all over the place. You know, you see big scandals and dramas, and there's plenty of examples of those. You're a franchise operation, basically, aren't you?
Yep.
How come you never have a problem with franchising?
Well, at the moment I've got one particular newspaper called the Financial Review, and I've got a couple of journalists in there. I never ban journalists, okay? But there's a couple in there, like I will not talk to, and because they write this absolute garbage. There's one bloke, Joe Aston, in there the other day. He should be hung, right? Or he should be stripped and flogged, the bastard, right? Because the crap that he wrote. And he's a gossip writer in the Fin Review, right? The Fin Review is supposed to be this wonderful paper that with quality journalists, and instead of that, they have a gossip writer telling lies, right? That bloke should be sacked tomorrow. He is an absolute disgrace. I know, but he's an absolute disgrace. So what about the people that run that? Why do they, if I was the managing director of the Fin Review and I had an idiot like that out there, what would I do to him? I would bring him in and say, mate, you ever do that again, find another job. Because the only way the Fin Review can survive is to have quality journalists that know what they're talking about and don't write bullshit and lies. And it was so bad. It's like nearly 100% incorrect. And this is what you're dealing with, because you haven't, in the old days when Rupert Murdoch runs it, or Kerry Packer runs it, those sort of bullshit things don't happen, because they pull them in and they tell them it's not on.
Well, there you go. I think I didn't quite expect that answer, but there you go. Look, I'm going to have to leave it there, but that was terrific. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I hope you keep up the fight on that GST thing with Amazon.
Well, I'm out there, I'm fighting all the time. I'm just turning 78, and I'm fighting more than I've ever had to fight in my life, because I'm fighting bureaucrats, I'm fighting regulators, I'm fighting bloody journalists, I'm fighting short sellers. Like, when's the fight going to stop? It just gets worse every year in social media. Right, the whole thing that we've got out there at the moment is just, it's a disgrace.
I tell you what, though, mate, you're still doing pretty well.
Oh, I'm very happy with my life.
You're
but if there's a chance to make it better, why should I just sit in the corner?
No. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep at it.
Go.
But I've got to say, you are a walking phenomenon, mate. Gerry Harvey's quite an extraordinary fellow, isn't he? I think you'd all agree with that after it. Isn't that? That's it. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much for your time, because I know you're a pretty busy fellow with running an empire. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll be back in just a moment and we shall review the week.